Hi, I'm Tanya. Today we're going to start our stretching with a standing roll down. So standing with your feet about 6 inches apart, your knees are in line with your hips. I'm just going to stand to the side so that you can see the curl of the spine that we're going to be looking for. So start by lifting up tall, allow the shoulders to rest down, and lightly pull the abdominals back in. And I'm going to ask you now to actually kind of tuck your tailbone under, because as we start to curl forward, I don't want the pelvis to go with the spine. So you're going to slightly tuck the tailbone under and drop the head. And this is going to start to bring the stretch into the neck and down the upper traps, the upper portion of the back, keeping your abdominals pulled in. Just allow the weight of your body curling over to be what takes you into your stretch. Keep the tailbone curled under to anchor your pelvis. And just allowing the upper body to ever so slowly stretch over so that you're in a U shape. Your arms are dangling from your shoulders, pulling the stomach in to help open up the low back and support the spine in this deep flexion. I'm keeping my tailbone curling under, and now that I'm completely rounded over, just the weight of my body hanging forward out through my fingertips and anchoring my pelvis and not letting it move with the spine. My knees are soft. This is just lengthening now all of the tissue that runs from the pelvis all the way up the back. So many of our muscles in the back connect at the pelvis and run up the length of the spine. And so being in this U shape and just hanging here allows that tissue to open up, lengthen, stretch. And now we're going to move from the muscles that run up the spine and focus more on the muscles that run from the hip down the legs. So now lift your sits bones up to the ceiling and let your body fold forward from the hip joint. So now the spine is just dangling. The spine isn't getting the stretch now. Now it's the calves, the hamstrings, and the glutes. If it's challenging for you to reach the floor and you have something like a yoga block, or even if you have just a couple of pillows or something that you can place in front of you so that you can bend over and just rest your hands there, whatever you need. And now bend down into a deep squat. Try to keep your heels on the floor and see how low you can sink your tail down to the floor. This is a great stretch for coming into real deep flexion in the front of the hips. Great stretch for the Achilles tendon and the calf muscles. And now from here, roll forward onto your hands and knees, keeping your toes tucked down onto the floor, and push into the soles of your feet and the backs of your toes and get a stretch in the bottoms of the feet. Remember, we have that line of fascia that runs from the bottoms of our feet all the way up the backside, up and over, and attaches just above the eyebrows. And now, keeping your hands on the floor in front of you, press your heels back down to the floor into that deep squat. And then lift your sits bones back up to the ceiling. You're in that fold at the hip joint, bringing that stretch back into the hamstrings, into the glutes, into the calves. And to roll up, you want to use your hamstrings and your glutes to bring your pelvis back upright. So engage your abdominals slightly. And now you're going to use your hamstrings and your glutes to bring your pelvis back up. So feel like you're tucking your tail between your legs. Get the hips to open up, and then feel like you are lengthening and lifting the spine as you unroll the rest of your spine. Let the shoulders drop and rest, and feel like your head is floating like a hot air balloon, lifting up, lengthening the neck. Okay, and now we're going to go side to side and open up the sides of the body. So again, standing so that your feet are about under your hips. I'm going to be mirroring you, so you're going to lift your right arm up by your ear and let the hips fall open to the side and then to the other side. Feel like you're sweeping the ceiling with your fingertips and letting the hips fall open. And just easy flowing side to side. Feel how that opens up the waist. We'll go about 3 more times on each side. 1 and 1, 2 and 2 and 3 and 3. Good. Now spread your legs wide, and we are going to fold forward again, and your feet are pointed straight ahead. Fold forward so that the hands come down to the floor. And again, if you need your yoga block in front of you, go ahead and grab that. And then we're going to walk our hands over to the right and pull the body down the right leg, bringing your forehead to your knee. And then walk it back to center and walk it over to the left. And bring it back to center. See if you can hang a little bit lower now and walk it over again to the right. And back to center. And one more time to the left. And back to center. Now, heel toe your feet back to center. And we're going to roll up just like we did from our standing roll down. So if you want to soften your knees a little bit, you can. Tuck your tail between your legs. Use your hamstrings and your glutes to get your hips to an upright position. And then continue to unroll the mid and upper back as you come up. And now we're going to go into what we call a tiger tail. Just a gentle rotation, getting some rotation movement in the spine now. The arms just swing. And you just go to the end of your range of motion, and then that bounces you back towards the other direction. You're not forcing it. You're not holding the stretch. You're just swinging side to side, or yes, right to left. Let's do 2 more. 1 and 1 and 2 and 2. Okay, so now we're going to come down to a crisscross seated position. And if it's hard for you to sit in this position, if your hips are tight or your knees are tight, you can take a blanket or your yoga block and just lift your hips up a little bit higher so that it's easier in the hips. Okay. And we're going to go to the side just like when we were standing, but we're going to add a rotation now. You're going to rotate the rib cage, bring it back to center, and up. And over to the other side, press that opposite knee down, rotate the rib cage, lower the fingertips to the floor, come back, and up, and over, rotate, and up, and over, back to center, and up, keeping your right knee down as you go over to the left, and up. Okay, so let's come into our Z sit now. Remember, you want to have your knee pointed straight ahead, right in line with your hip. Foot can come against the knee, and then that back leg is bent back behind you. Your right hand is going to be back behind you slightly, and we're going to stretch forward, and as we do, you're going to roll the hip, stretch, and as we open up, you're going to sit your sit bone back down and open, and reach, and open, and 3, and open, and 4, and open, and 5. Let's go 8 times. And 6. You want to make sure that you stay lifted and that you don't sink into that right shoulder. Last time. And open. And we switch sides. Have your left knee pointed straight in front of you. Left hand is back behind you slightly. And rotate, roll that hip, reach long, sit your sit bone back down. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and our last one, 8. Good. Okay. Now coming back to our legs in crisscross, we're going to flex and extend the spine. So go ahead and interlace your fingers. Extend the spine as you inhale and bring the arms in, and then exhale as you reach away. Inhale, the pelvis rocks forward. Exhale, the tailbone tucks under. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. One more time like this. Inhale. And exhale. Now we're going to add on. We're going to inhale. Exhale. Turn your palms away. Round the arms away from the body. Then inhale. Lift back up. Exhale. Pull the hands down towards the forehead. Inhale back up. Exhale. Round. Press the arms away. Inhale. Sit back up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Flex the spine. Extend. Open the chest. Press the arms up. Flex and extend. Again. Exhale. Inhale. Open the chest. Press from the back and the triceps. Round the back and come back up. And round, up. So here we're getting all kinds of good things. We're getting pelvic tilt, spinal flexion and extension, movement of the shoulders, work in the back and the triceps, along with our breathing. Last time. Good. Now extend your legs out in front of you, wide enough so that when you roll your thighs in, your toes don't touch each other. Your arms are behind you, but the pelvis stays forward and the spine stays lifted. So you don't want to sit back and slump, but you want to keep the spine tall. We're going to roll in and out and in. 3. Rolling from the tops of the thighs up here in the hip joint. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, last one, 15. Okay, now we're going to come to our hands and knees and we're going to do thread the needle, which gives us a nice stretch across the upper back and also some spinal rotation. So we come to our 4-point kneeling. with your wrists right under your shoulders, your knees right under your hips. Your spine is nice and long. We're in our neutral spine, neutral pelvis, so make sure that you're not curled and rounded. And let's start with the left hand and reach it through. You're going to drop down to the left shoulder and then come back out and reach through and back out. We're going to go 4 times. 3 and 4, and we're going to stay down. So we're resting on our left shoulder and the side of our head. And if it's comfortable for you to bring your arm up overhead, then you can do that. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you can leave your hand down on the floor. We're just looking to open up the chest a little bit more. The arm can either stay up to the ceiling, it can rest on your side, or you can tuck it around and bind it at the hip. One more breath here. And go ahead and bring it back to center. And now we're going to go to the right arm. Open the right arm out. Bring it through all the way down to the shoulder to get that rotation. And open. 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to stay here. It's fine if you want to leave your hand on the floor, or you can bring it up to the ceiling, rest it on your side, or you can hook it around the back and bind it in the hip joint. One more breath here in this position. And bring it back. Come to your 4-point kneeling. And we're going to go into a moving cat-cow. So with a long spine, you're going to shift back, tuck your tailbone under, and roll it forward. Shift back. Tuck the tailbone round the spine, roll until the shoulders are over the wrist. Lift with a long spine, shift back, tuck and roll forward. Shift and forward. One more like this. Now come to neutral spine again. Keeping your hips lifted, we're going to walk the hands forward, drop the forehead to the floor, keep your arms long and straight, hips lifted up in the air, and allow your chest to drop down towards the floor so that we're getting a big stretch in extension for the spine. We're getting a stretch where the arms come in and meet at the torso. Hips stay lifted in the air, reaching your tailbone away from your fingertips. It's like doing a downward dog on your knees. And now you can walk it back into a child's pose, whatever is easeful and comfortable for you. And go ahead and come out of your child's pose. And thank you so much for joining us again today.